Hello and welcome. I'm Ailsa Robson. I love to listen to people's life stories. I'm a psychotherapist and someone who has realised that striving for perfection doesn't bring you happiness. Instead, I now advocate for adding compassion to your life while simply doing the best you can. I have an array of friends and peers who also have been unpacking how perfectionism shows up in their lives. And now I've recorded some of these interviews and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. Please enjoy and let me know if anything resonates. Welcome, Alli Parsons. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very pleased to be here.
Well, Alli, I feel very honoured that you have chosen to speak with me today because we've got a bit of a professional and personal connection.
Yeah.
And I, first of all, I might just introduce you as an artist above all else. Do you think?
I guess I am, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's probably what I'm considered as at the moment anyway. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So Ali has her own business, Nutmeg and Lime, and she is a watercolor artist. She also enjoys pottery and does these beautiful little. Well, I've got all sorts of those little spoon, gorgeous things like spice spoons, and you also do bookbinding and other magic magic things in your collection. But I've particularly asked Ali to join me today because she's recently created a magnificent collection of inspirational cards. But maybe what I'll do is backtrack a little, Ali, and ask you about what roles and intentions fill your days.
That's a big question. Where do you start with that? What roles? I mean, obviously, I start the day with being a mum. That's where I start as far as that goes. And that's with my son. I've got one son living here with me at the moment, so yeah, I sort of tend to use that role first, and then from there throughout the day I tend to be the artist, and yeah, then
Yes, and
become the chef in the evenings. It's,
mhm.
and it
and
just keeps you know
and a bit of a bird whisperer too. I can hear. Are they your birds in the background?
I have budgies, but I've also recently purchased a couple of finches, so they
Um,
are brightly coloured, and I've called them Claude and Monet, or Monet
oh,
is in the artist,
of
because
course.
they are like little paint palettes. They are the Gordian finches, and they're bright coloured like painting. I couldn't resist them the other day, and I thought, "Oh, they're coming home with me."
Oh, oh, that's
They're like
lovely.
little arty birds.
Well, I can
Yeah,
I can hear their songs in the background, so that's lovely to have that, company during the day.
absolutely. And I've got a water trickling with the fountain as well out there. I don't know whether you can hear that too. So that's beautiful while I'm painting. So
Well, we've certainly got a gorgeous spring sunshine day today here in Adelaide.
oh,
Um,
it's beautiful.
I Yeah, and maybe we can also talk about our connection. So, what's our connection to you?
Well, I think now we're going back probably about 3 years ago, I think it would have been. And I did quite a bit of Googling because I was going through quite a few traumas in my life, had
Mm,
been for, somewhat 10 years or so.
yeah.
And I think I got to the point where a friend of mine had said to me, maybe you need to see a counsellor. So
Yeah.
I went down that track and, did the Google search, and I came across your name, and I kept going back to you out of all these other people because there was something about you that clicked with me. And so I think I sat on it for about 6 months before I contacted you, because I'm
Mm.
I'm a procrastinator like that. It's what I
It's
do.
a Mm.
But I think I kept going back to you all the time, but it says something about you, and in the end, I contacted you and, had a session with you, and yeah, you inspired me a lot. So you helped me a lot with getting me on my path to different thinking. Even though we may have only had a couple of sessions, it was sort of I just found that what you did say was enough to get me back on track.
Oh,
So
that's lovely. Well,
yeah,
I certainly remember when we first met, and you know, it's joyous when you meet a client that shares a lot of similarities and
yeah,
philosophies and
yeah,
interests. We hit it off, and
we did.
I I was so pleased. And your story's not very different to most people. There's a lot of people that spend quite a bit of time searching and um, kind of looking in the background at social media and making sure that the person, you know, that they find is actually the real deal, I suppose, before they step
Yeah.
over the line. Yeah.
You have to be able to click with someone, don't you? When you, especially when you want to confide in a lot of things, it needs to be someone that you feel that you can trust, and and you certainly have been that. So,
Thank you, Ellie. I appreciate your um, yeah, your willingness as well, and also to share this with me, because on an interview that's going, you know, onto the internet and live, this is you know, this is very special to have
yeah,
you on here. But not so much about our work together. It's really about like where some of that has taken you now. Like I'm really interested. And and maybe we can start with how you no doubt we started off talking about this within one of our first sessions, but how perfectionism, you know, shows up in your life.
no, I thought about that the other day, and it's one of those things that I think we all. It's a bit of a love hate thing sometimes, isn't it? I think, we all share that to a certain point. I know for me, I've spent a lifetime trying to be this perfect person for everyone. But
Mhm.
in my work, especially, I found when I was first starting to create and show my work, I
Mm.
felt so ashamed of showing anything that wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And that was something that I have found really, really hard to let go of. Um, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, there was some little spoons. I don't know whether you remember.
I have them. I love them.
Just happened to have them handy.
Mm.
Yeah, but I made so many things that they were faulty, and so I felt that they weren't good enough to sell and things like that. And I think when you have a business, it's such a loss of costs and things like that as well when you're trying to run something like that. But I
Mhm.
found these little spoons that I made at one stage. There was three of them that cracked. I think it was three. It might have been more than that. And I put them all together, and I thought, these dear little spoons, I can't, I can't throw them out. They're just too
Mm.
beautiful to throw out.
Mm.
So I put up the little bundle and I put them up for sale at the same price that I'd
Yeah.
sold all the others for.
Yes.
And I thought somebody is going to love these for what they are.
Mhm.
And you put your hand up and
Of
said, "Pick
course,
me, pick me."
because the
Yeah,
imperfections, they're
exactly.
beautiful, little cracked. It was also it was the glaze was just gorgeous. It was kind of
Yeah,
cracked, which was beautiful,
yeah.
I thought.
And that
Yeah.
that to me was, that proved that you don't have to always get everything perfect and everything right for it to be loved and appreciated for what it is. So yeah. But yes, I think that, over the years I have spent so much time trying to get everything spot on. And if it's
Mm.
not spot on, then I don't like anyone to see it. And, I think working with you, that actually opened my eyes to, realizing that it's okay if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, it gives layers. It gives layers to understanding and to knowing and to um, having a different perspective on life. I remember
Absolutely.
years ago, I had a moment in my 20s where I was just feeling overwhelmed. I think a relationship had ended. I was very sad. I was feeling really unsure about my body. And I just didn't know if I was ever going to be loved and appreciated for who I was. So
Mm.
I took myself down to Port Elliot and I went down to the shoreline, to the rocks down there.
Yeah.
And I remember taking black and white photos of these big kind of granite boulders that uh, the waves were washing onto. It was like the waves were lovingly caressing
Yeah.
these rocks, and they were like they were imperfect, and they were some of them were really large, and they kind of reminded me of my thighs or my
Mhm.
bottom or
Yeah.
other parts of me. They had creases and cracks, and
Yeah.
yet the ocean was loving them, like
Absolutely.
really loving them
Yeah.
and and caressing them. And I thought, this is what I have to remember, that these are like all these beautiful bodies, you know, women's
Yeah.
bodies that are kind of, and men's bodies lying there being caressed by the ocean for their imperfections. Um, it was really profound for me at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love that. That's yeah, I can very much resonate with that because I've always felt the same. I've never liked what I had in my body,
Mm.
and I think I have struggled with that a lot with my body image and things like that. Especially now, I'm in a situation now where I'm now a single woman, and
Yeah.
after 10 years of being in a relationship, it left me with a lot of lack of self-esteem, I guess. So yeah, I get that completely. So it's
Yes.
fun when you look at things and you think, well, if you're okay with that being perfect, then why can't I be okay with myself not being perfect? you know
Yes.
you can have,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
and it just takes sometimes just moments in time where it shifts that perception, and then you build on that and you build on that,
Yeah.
um, and you notice messages that are coming through to you, like
Mm.
um, you know, I feel like getting into your cards now, if I may. um,
Yeah.
do you want to give a little bit of a background into what happened when you began creating your
Mm.
cards?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had been in a 10-year relationship that was crumbling before my very eyes. And
Mm,
I was at a point where I didn't know how to reach out for help. I didn't know where to go because I was in so much turmoil. And I think that's around that time when I spoke with you, and you had then expressed that, maybe you saw the artwork. And I don't know if you can see them in background there, they're hanging up
mm,
there on the wall. There was two
mm.
pictures that I brought in and I showed you those that I
Yes.
had started, but I felt like I'd failed because I hadn't finished them. And you
Mm.
said, "Why do they have to be finished?" And then
Yes.
you went on to say about, why don't you incorporate your artwork in in your healing? So, and I thought, well, actually, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then a little while later, I think I had a Zoom meeting with an art therapist, and she actually then also suggested something very similar to you. And then
Mm.
I got to the point where I got off after seeing both of you, and I went, right, I need to get this art thing out of my system because I
Yeah.
feel that that is what is going to help me on the path to healing. And
Yeah.
um, throughout the following year, I went on to produce this next first set of cards, and working with that, I set myself 54 cards to paint for 54 days in a row. So it was one a day. And it was mainly to keep me focused and
Mm.
to keep me, um, in a place where I could just, you know, even on days when I wasn't in the mood to paint, I forced myself to paint and
Yeah.
produce something. It didn't matter what it was, as long as it was something. And you'll probably see there's a couple of cards in this set that weren't that great, but I didn't care because it was how I was feeling at the time. And so, yeah. And I
They're
gradually,
all
yeah,
worthy, all
yeah,
worthy.
each one of them had a purpose, and it
Mm.
reflected my moods and things like that at the time, and it did help a lot with my healing. So you know, it showed me that I was going to be okay no matter what happened. So yeah,
And as you were progressing, you were sharing them on Facebook.
I
Um,
was, yeah.
and what kind of response did you get?
Wow. I was actually blown away. I mean, the first couple of times, I think it was another friend of mine he'd said to me, you know, you should post these on Facebook and, you know, just share them with everyone, share your work. And so I started doing it really just as a it was really just as a healing thing for myself. It never was
Mm.
meant to ever be something I was going to sell. But yeah, it turned out that yeah, as I was gradually sharing them, everyone was just going crazy, saying, you know, they're lovely, you know, they're so beautiful, and it just really built up my confidence a lot too. And I think that
Yeah.
really helped. It made a huge difference to how
And
I saw things. So.
where did you find the, you know, the inspiration for some of the quotes and some of the words? Like I've got here, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body.
Some of those I did get off the internet. You know, I'd look
Mm.
on and do a search because I had a picture in mind of what I wanted to
Yeah.
paint. I wanted a quote to go with it that would match. Or sometimes it was the other way around, or I'd
Mm.
think of a quote and then I'd want a picture to match. So I'd do
Mm.
lots of research and things like that. Sometimes I made up the quotes. Some of them are just some of my funny little thoughts that I
Yeah.
put into them. You know, I think there was one with rainbows on it. I think that was another one that I can't even remember where that one is now. That
I
was
love
another
that.
one.
I love the one with the eye, you know,
Yes,
to really see yourself.
that one I think I kind of made up a bit myself.
Yeah.
I think I saw the quote and went, I think I'll just turn that into something that is all about me.
And
My
you
my
and you did this within a day, didn't you? You did
Yeah,
this within a
yeah.
day. That's
Each one of the cards
amazing.
done daily. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that process, um, there would have been, you know, opportunities, as you said, you know, you could kind of stuck to it even when it was uncomfortable.
Those
Um,
days I didn't want to paint at all because I was so low. But I
yeah,
just made myself do it, whether or not I wanted to or not. And
yeah.
yeah, it gave me focus and it gave me a purpose. And that's, I think, what I think I needed at that time. So, because I was pretty low. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was wonderful to watch that journey, and I know that not only do you have one card set now, you have two card sets.
I do. I do.
and,
We've given
and
birth to another set.
yay, yay! And I've passed on your card set to others, and I know that these are also being gifted out and passed on to other people, and you're hearing stories about that too, aren't you? The ripple effect.
Oh, it's beautiful. The stories that I've been getting back, the feedback on my page. You know, the amount of people. One person in particular, she said that what she's done. I think it was one of my cousins, I think, in England. She was actually through all the COVID stuff. She was actually handing out cards to people or posting them individually. So, and I thought that was beautiful because she'd pick one out and select one just for that one person that
Yeah.
suited them. And so, you know, it cheered them up, you know, and I thought that's so beautiful. Gifting one card to each person. So, yeah, it's
Well,
lovely the feedback I've had.
the compassion that you showed yourself is then rippling out to other people, um, having
Yeah.
compassion for themselves, and then also showing compassion for others as well. isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I think I found is that it did. It had, like you said, it had a ripple effect. I found that, what helped me helped others as well, which was an absolute bonus because I just thought that was so good that it was helping others as well. So yeah, no,
Absolutely. And it's taking you a little bit further now too, hasn't it? It's in a business sense, it's creating more. There's is Can you talk about that next little project that you're working on, or is it just something
oh,
special?
there is some special things happening. Actually,
Mm.
I am currently working on a website, so we will have
Mhm.
a website up and running. As we speak, I've been the last couple of days been working on a website, so that's a biggie because that way I can get the card sets launched on there, which I feel will help expand that side of things. And I do intend on going a couple more sets yet.
Yeah.
There is a couple of other things on the cards, but it may be a little book happening as well.
Yeah.
And I've also been asked to do a special set of cards for a man that I have been talking with, who he produced. I don't know if you can see this one. That was a book called Just One Reason,
Okay.
and that was based on suicide prevention and that sort of thing, which was it has affected my life as far as that part of things go. And I feel that that is something really important as far as mental health goes.
Mm.
And when he was discussing it, he wants to expand, so there may be maybe room there for a little nutmeg and lime book with all my cards in it. Um, and later on down the track, I think he's also asked me to do a set of cards, a commission set of cards for him as well. So just for his business. So yeah, it's happening. Lots of things happening.
What if you were to, somebody's listening to our interview today and
Mm.
they think, wow, what an opportunity. I love, you know, I love to create art myself, or I like drawing, or I like watercolor or photography or anything, what would you say to them?
Do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. I would, because it's just, when it's a passion, I just think, I've been having the same discussions with my boys and, my
Mm.
youngest son, especially, he's 15. And, we were talking about it the other day because he's a bit mixed with what he wants to do throughout his life, or how
Yeah,
he wants to start with the apprenticeships and things like that. And I said, whatever you do, make sure that you love doing it because there's got to be a big element of passion and enjoyment.
thanks for your patience there, Ali. It seems that there's a perfectly imperfect power outage that just happened at my end, and it cut you off. But you were talking about when if somebody was to um, say that they wanted to create art themselves, then you said, "Go for it, do it if it makes you happy."
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you were starting to talk about you.
Yeah, I was talking about my boys in,
Yeah.
when you have a passion for something, something grabs your attention, go with it and make it the best you possibly can. And that's my thing. I've seen so many people having jobs and things like that in 9 to 5 jobs that they absolutely hate.
Mm,
And I think, I know a lot of people need income and things like that, and they're doing what they need to do just to bring in the income. But
yeah,
somewhere there has to be a little element of something that you love, even if it's something that you do just as a hobby on the side.
yeah,
Keep it and keep plugging away at it is what I say. Just do it. Do it. I'm
absolutely.
passionate about it. I mean, I would love to teach art as well. I have done a few classes and workshops and
Mm,
things like that, and that is something I'm going to expand on later on down the track too, because I just think I just want to share with everyone that it's art is such an important part of life. I think
yes,
you know
yes.
whether it's for
And
someone that's viewing the work or whether it's for someone that's actually doing the work, it's, we all sharing art somewhere along the line.
We do, and it's again, it's only our perspective of whether or not um, something is worthy or not worthy. The
Yeah.
art itself is just what it is.
Yeah.
And if it brings you pleasure and brings you joy, I am an absolute advocate for pleasure in life.
Uh,
We are taught to kind of be to push pleasure down because we need to get on with life, and it's as if it's a bit frivolous and
yeah.
indulging. But
No, it's
when
not.
you
It's
immerse
healing.
yourself in your senses and find meaning in something that you're creating, it's so important. And as you know, this is witnessing this ripple effect, just
Yeah.
having the opportunity to connect with somebody that makes you feel heard and seen and witnesses your story, then gives you the permission to then move
Mm.
out into the world to explore your own story and have permission, and then you give other people permission, and it just passes on down.
Yeah,
um, and
absolutely.
and whether or not your boys are embracing it as yet, they are witnessing you do it. So you're already teaching them, aren't you?
Follow your passion. That's exactly right. Whether it's art or some sort of creativity. I mean, two of my boys are right into cars, and
Yes.
detail and things like that on cars. It's still creative. It's a passion. Go with it. Art to me has just been, my whole family have all been artists. My oldest sister is like my guru of painting. Well,
Yeah.
actually, both of my sisters, Sharon and Karen, have both been my mentors as far as painting goes. I mean, their work is impeccable. Like, their work is perfect. I'm
I, I'm
sorry, but
I'm I'm sure they probably don't see it that way, though, do they?
no, they probably keep up with everything they've done.
Yeah.
But I look at their work and go, "Wow, they're amazing." And so they've always been an inspiration, and my whole family have been artistic. And I think that it's just you don't have to be artistic though to start painting and to start creating. You just have to want to do it, and
Yes.
that's what I think is all you need is a want to do it. So
Yes.
if that
Oh,
makes
that's
sense.
lovely. And so I feel like we've been dancing around perfectionism and compassion.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to add to this conversation that about perfectionism or compassion?
Ooh, what can I add to it? There's so much you could add to it, isn't there? I just think, don't beat yourself up. I think I've done that a lot with everything that I've done, as I mentioned before, even with the little spoons, and just there's so many things that I've made and created that I've just felt as though was never good enough. And in that, you could also use that in yourself. Like there's so much about myself that I think is not good enough to show other people, and you
Yeah.
hide it. And I think that, we need to start realizing that we are enough, and what we are is, what we present is, it should be accepted, and we should learn to accept it ourselves. So I
Yes.
think,
Well, that was interesting because that's the card that I pulled up. You are enough. Yes.
absolutely, that one,
I
I
love
was in tears. I was in tears when I painted that one.
where yeah.
Yeah, that was a painful one for me because I felt that after my breakup that I was not enough, and that was an important card for me. That was a
Yeah.
biggie. Mm,
Yes.
yeah,
That those words are huge words that we all struggle with. We all
yeah,
struggle with. Yeah.
in so many ways too, isn't it? Whether it's looks or whether it's your size or whether it's personality, we all struggle with it. Mm,
Yes. Yeah. And
yeah,
and yeah, I love that. This has been wonderful to talk to you and to see I've got, there's so many. There's like, I would love to show like all the cards as we go, but that's okay because you can buy your own set of these cards. And Ali's got, well, I haven't seen those. Are you opening up the new set? Do, do, do.
You want to have a quick review?
Yes,
I'll
please.
give you a quick flash.
Oh. Go on then. Go on.
Oh, you said stop it. There's the back of the new set.
Oh,
There, I
I
don't know.
like that. Is that a, oh yes, it's a dandelion. It's a,
The
but
dandelion that's
yeah.
just blown
Oh,
away, expanding, and
yes.
it's flying away, and it's spreading its
Oh,
wings.
I like
So
that.
my mum told me after doing this other set here,
Yeah,
I don't know if you see those. That's the
yeah,
back of the other set. I don't know, is that
yeah.
reflecting?
Yes, I can see
Um,
it. Yeah.
and she said she was disappointed with the back of them because she said there wasn't enough colour in them. And I thought, oh, I didn't think of that. I was just thinking of keeping that simple. But so for the second set, she said, "Can you please do something a bit more colourful?" And I thought, oh, I can't not please my dear mum. So I thought, right, we've got colour now. So
I love it. I love it. I love the
but yeah,
blues and the greens. Wow.
there's the
Oh
first one.
yes.
I
You're the
am.
most I am. Yes.
So that's the first card.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's so many here that I could share, but you have to buy the pack to see it. There's 54 of them, otherwise there's too many to flash in front of you. But yeah, that's it. I'm a bit excited. That's my sample set here. So I'm in the process of working on this set series, so they will be available very, very soon, I hope.
Yeah, and maybe there might be some people that haven't actually got any card sets or affirmation um, affirmations that they have around the house. I've got lots. I have like a tear off Louise Hay affirmation calendar that's a 365-day calendar.
Oh,
So
yeah,
um,
yeah,
they're just the words with pictures. But I also have a lot of other card sets that I kind of draw on for inspiration. Sometimes it's helpful to, if you're journaling and you want
mm,
a prompt for what to write about, or
yeah,
if there's, if you're having a difficult day, it could be that you mount a couple of cards around your house. There's
yeah,
lots and lots of opportunities, as you said, gifting them
yeah,
individually or gifting
yeah,
packs. We're coming up to Christmas. This is exciting because you can also buy some of these from Ali too, and other things on her website. She's a talented photographer too. All sorts of things.
I am. I
Yeah.
started out as a photographer. I think the photography really helped with painting too, because it allowed me to learn how light sits and things like that, and shading and shadows. It taught me that side of things, and I found
Mm,
that there was a lot that I learned with photography that I've incorporated into painting as well. So yeah, it's
fantastic.
yeah. I just think, go with your passions. That's what I say. Go with
Yep.
it.
I say it
Mm.
too. I mean, step outside of your comfort zone and give it a whirl. And if you do need somebody to walk alongside you whilst you're kind of exploring some of that, certainly I work with people literally walking alongside them, like walk and talk therapy or
Absolutely.
sitting in the room. But then there's also, you mentioned, I think it's Belle Ryan, didn't you? It was
Yes,
Belle. And yeah,
she's
so yes, she's another Adelaide-based therapist, art therapist, and
yes,
there's a lot of people working within both of our spaces. So if you do want to explore that with a professional, qualified mental health provider, then please seek us out. There'll be links to everything below. Mine, Ali's, Belle's, and yeah, we're all interested in keeping contact. So thanks so much, Ali. Really appreciate your time today, and
you're very welcome.
can't wait to see where this leads you next.
Yeah, neither can I. I can't wait either. I'm excited. And thank you so much for having me on here. I've really enjoyed it. I was
Oh,
very
it's
nervous. I got there in the end.
you didn't even say that, you know, yes, thank you. I really appreciate your generosity of spirit and time having a chat with me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. It's been good.
okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.